Comes the first question, everyone. The first question is related to the area of what is the primary objective of establishing innovation zones at the level of urban local bodies. We were talking about the innovation zone firms and all. Na? So in the urban local bodies, why are we doing this? When we are doing this when the urban local bodies, it is because to increase tax revenue, to enhance the public service delivery and governance, to promote political campaigns, and then is to build houses. This is basically done in the urban local bodies for one particular purpose only, that is to enhance the public service delivery as well as the governance. We're trying to do this just to have this particular edge. Okay. Next question. What functions are assigned to innovation zones, everyone? Encourage wasteful spending, recognize challenges in citizen services, or reduce the quality of life for citizens, or promote bureaucracy? What would be the answer? What functions are assigned towards the innovation? The innovation zones are basically given the work to find out where are the challenges coming for the citizens, right? Recognize challenges in citizen services. Whatever services are being provided towards the citizens, how are we working upon those? Okay. Next question, everyone. How are challenges in citizen services addressed within innovation zones? How do they look forward towards the answers to these questions? In this case, the answer would be through how are challenges in the citizen services addressed within the innovation zone through traditional bureaucracy, through hackathons and grand challenges, or by reducing the budget or by ignoring the problems. These innovation zones have been looking forward to all these areas by hackathons and grand challenges. They have started using these hackathons. Hackathons is basically a kind of quiz contests where you come up with all these different startups would participate in it, and the ones which are having unique area of working, which are showing an extreme good quality of working overall, are covered in this area. So hackathons and innovation challenges are basically not only helpful for them in terms of getting recognition, but these are also helpful in gaining money as well. They get finances through these, they get rewards through these, and this helps in their growth of the business ultimately. Because one thing is true, for the startups it's very difficult to attain a good amount of finance, because finance is one of the challenging areas. Along with that, they might be having talent, but they need to find the correct market too. Your target market should be very clear, and how do you enter that market should also be clear to you. If it is not clear to you, that is very scary part, isn't it? Chali, here comes the next question, everyone. The question says, what is the Startup India Showcase? What does it, the Startup India Showcase, everyone? Startup India is basically some, I would say this is basically uh, a platform which is providing all the entrepreneurs who are new into this market and they're looking forward towards growth. But the businessmen are always looking forward towards the area where they can show the growth in the market. They can look forward towards the growth. They can have something in the market which is way important for them. You know, Startup India is basically for all the new budding entrepreneurs who are new to the market and they're looking forward towards growth. So in this case, what are they providing? First is a physical exhibition of startups, a virtual platform featuring profiles of promising Indian startups, a government-led training program for entrepreneurs or startup funding event. What would it be? This is basically done with one sole purpose, that is, it is providing a virtual platform that is featuring a profile of promising Indian startups. So basically, all the Indian startups are showcased on the Startup India Showcase so that people can actually understand what different areas are available for them in terms of the startups and where they can put money or they can buy things from these startups. So they're basically giving a platform to all these startups. Next question. What is the purpose of Startup India Showcase? To discourage the innovation? Then this is absolutely wrong. Right? Second is to highlight innovation, startups, and various funding. Then to regulate the startup ecosystem or to restrict access to funding. So this won't be the point. It can be either of the two. So it has to be B. It will highlight innovative startups from various fields. Because what are we doing? We are doing showcasing. So whatever those organizations are, we'll be showing it to the market ultimately कि अच्छा, these are the organizations which are coming up and that's the growth that they are showing. ठीक है ना? What is the primary focus of Digital Demo Day in Germany? Showcasing agriculture innovations, promoting traditional industries, showcasing emerging technology startups, or celebrating cultural festivals. So the name itself states that Digital Demo Day is basically the day where they're showcasing their technology startups. There are different technology startups coming every single year now, and Germany is very renowned for this. German technology has been very much popular in the world in because of their sophistication, the neatness in terms of the technology, the productivity that comes out of it, the machinery that they are using, and innovation is constant there, right? There are so many things that we still buy from Germany, and there are so many renowned companies from the Germany which are serving the entire world, right? So that's why if you talk about this particular organization, this particular country, so they are celebrating Digital Demo Day so that they can showcase the various startups. Everyone, startups require a specific area for exposure. So whosoever gives it, the government gives it, a specific day is allotted, quizzes are allotted, hackathons and all. These are just a way of having a proper startup. Then, which of the following technology areas are emphasized? Agri and virtual reality and augmented reality. This is very new in the market, right? It's absolutely new in the market. Then, next would be food and beverages, and last is tourism and hospitality. What is this related to? A digital demo day. Basically, now over the period of time, they have become very much interested in virtual reality as well as the augmented reality, right? So in this case, what would be the correct answer? In this case, the correct answer would be virtual reality. and augmented reality. So VR and these are basically, I would say, this is another world altogether, which has been recently developed, and at the same time, it is gaining a lot of popularity over the period of time, and there is a lot of scope in terms of growth in virtual reality and augmented reality. Okay, the answer is virtual reality and augmented reality. Okay. Now the people have started looking forward towards various ways. They have started thinking about opening business in VR and AR and the different areas. This is another, I would say, this is third world ultimately, where you will find all the things similar to our real world there, right? So in the past few years, this popular thing is gaining a lot of popularity, not only in one particular area of the world, but all over. Okay, so here comes the next question. What is the main goal of animal husbandry startup grand challenge? To promote technology startups in Germany, to promote the fashion industry, or to encourage innovative solutions in animal husbandry and dairy, or the last one is to improve uh, automotive technology. What is the main goal of animal husbandry startup grand challenge? It would be to encourage innovative solutions in animal husbandry and dairy. It would be C. Okay. Basically, it is done for the basic purpose of coming up with innovative solutions for animal husbandry and dairy. Basically, what has happened is over the period of time, dairy farming has been commercialized to a very great extent. Animal husbandry has become very extensive area again. So in this area, what are they dealing with? Dairy farms, how are they solving the problems related to the poultry farms, dairy farms, and all those areas that are working upon, right? So then, in terms of this is not a part of poultry more, or this is more of animal husbandry and dairy area. So then, in terms of milking the cows, preservation of the milk, and how are we taking care of the cows? What are the particular areas where we can develop and make the things better? That would be the point. Na? So in this case, the answer would be C, to encourage innovative solutions in animal husbandry and dairy. Okay. What is the focus of Ayushman PMJAY Startup Grand Challenge? What would be the particular focus of Ayushman PMJY Startup Challenge, everyone? When we talk about this specific Ayushman Bharat is basically a particular area related to the um, study of in terms of medicines, hospitality. And that is basically the area of not hospitality but hospitals and all. This is based upon the area of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. So that is the part of PMJAY. In this area, they're talking about the Health Authority of India, right? So National Health Authority is basically the one which is taking care of the PMJAY. So this is related to the Ayushman has been introduced for opening up various dispensaries in the local areas, right? In terms of homeopathic, in terms of allopathic, all those homeopathic, allopathic, as well as there are a few more of those which are recognized by them, and those particular healthcare is available, healthcare facilities are available under this. So this does not promote fashion and textile. Develop innovative solutions for healthcare. That can be the point, because other than healthcare, it doesn't talk about anything else. So agriculture and farming, it doesn't talk about that. Even tourism and hospitality is not the one. In this case, they're talking about hospitals. What kind of medical treatments are available for all these people? So this is developing innovative solutions for the healthcare. In which fields are startup primarily invited to participate in Ayushman PMJAY Startup Grand Challenge? Fashion and industry, digital health, hospital services. This is actually the similar question that has been just created. This is basically, I would say, paraphrasing of the question further, and more detailed question is this one, right? So in this case, what would be the answer? Answer is B again. This is related to the area of digital health, hospital services, as well as medical workforce training. And next question, everyone. Another grand challenge. This is textile grand challenge. Why was this initiated? Why was textile grand challenge initiated? To promote the automobile industry, to encourage innovation in the textile and clothing industry, to support the construction industry, or to boost the mining sector. Yeah, this one is a little too direct. Otherwise, I would say such kind of areas can be twisted further. When we talk about textile grand challenge, now this is to encourage innovation in the textile and clothing sector. It can also be said that export more, to import less, import substitution of the clothing. So they can make it more typical as well by introducing more points related to the area of specific textile. We have to remember these are in the field of innovation. Startups are working solely for the purpose of bringing something new in the market, because there are so many problems in the market and they want to become the reasons who are solving the problems, है ना? It is way too important that we do all these things in our businesses. ठीक है ना? So in this case, the correct answer is textile industry. Next question. There are certain exemptions which are given under the area of income tax for all the various startups. So what are they about? First is 56 to 7B. Basically, 56 to 7B is covered under the head of other sources. In terms of income tax, I hope you know there are overall 5 heads. That includes first is salary, second is house property, third is business, PGPP, fourth is capital gains when you sell an asset or when there's a liability further. So in this case, what would be the answer? To encourage the generation of unaccounted money, to discourage tax evasion through the share subscription, then to promote tax evasion or to lower the fair market value of the shares. What would be the answer in this case? In this case, the correct answer would be to discourage the tax evasion through the share subscriptions. Under section 56 to 7B, if the subscription price of the share exceeds the fair market value, how is this excess value treated for the company in the applicable fiscal year? It is not considered as income, it is treated as a capital gain, it is included in the company's revenue under income from other sources, or it is tax deductible. What would be the answer in this case? Under section 56 to 7b, if the subscription price of the share exceeds their fair market value. How is this excess value treated for the company? See, when we talk about one specific fiscal year now, what happens is in terms of subscription, sometimes what they are doing, the companies are doing this, that they show the fair value of the particular shares more than what their value is. So when there's difference in the fair values, what do we do about it? So we have to make sure that the fair value of the share is not shown in a different manner altogether. है ना? So what they are showing is the fair value of the share is more than their actual value. So what will the in income tax do? It will try to remove this particular point. When they are trying to remove this particular point, what will we do? It is treated as a capital gain? No. It is treated as a company's revenue under income tax other sources. That is where we'll put it, because 56 to 7b is totally related to OS only. It is not related to anything else but only other sources. It is included in the company's revenue under income from other sources. Just a moment, please. What exemption is granted to startups under Section 5067B in relation to the issuance of shares at higher price than the fair market value? Exemptions from all taxes, exemption from capital gains, exemption from income tax, or exemption from corporate tax. What exemption is granted to startup under Section 5627B? When we talk about the startups there now, startups has been given the exemption from income tax in case of issuance of share at a higher price than their fair market value. They are only allowed. Otherwise, other than startups, nobody else is allowed to have this thing. If any company is trying to give this share to at a value greater than their book value, ठीक है ना, then in such a case what will we do? We will be doing one particular thing there. If there's a book value and there's a face value, in this case one thing that we'll be taking care of is that if the company is showing that it has a higher value, it is basically trying to misguide people, है ना? So in this case there would be an issue. So what will they do about it? When the book value and the face value is having a mismatch, in that case what will they do? They will say that you are trying to share value more than your actual value, so you are misguiding the people. So whatever the amount of difference is, we will charge it to other sources. But in case of startups, they said if you are doing this, we will not put any tax on you. So that is, they have an exemption from income tax in this area. Okay, there's an exemption from income tax in this area. Let's talk about the question. The first question says, how has the process of incorporating a company in India changed in February 2020? Now it takes around 10 days to incorporate a company. Then it takes around, the number has increased from 3 to 10. Normally, if I talk about the entire area, we have definitely reduced the number of days. Rather than increasing now, we have reduced the number of days. So this means one thing is clear, it can be 10 days, but it can be also less than 10 as well. है ना? So let's begin with the particular topic. When we are answering a question like this, first of all, when we talk about this arena, they have reduced the number of days. When we talk about reducing the number of days, it now takes 10 days to incorporate. Normally it has been reduced further. It is actually currently 4. Okay? The correct answer is the number of days required has been reduced from 18 to 4. Done? So move on to the next question now. Acha, this is another programmer. What is the objective of Women Capacity Development Program or WING? See, the point is WING was developed for the portion that, as you know, that male entrepreneurs are working more. The female entrepreneurs are less in number. है ना? To reduce awareness of women-led business, to increase the number of male entrepreneurs, or to provide training and support for women-led business, to limit the participation of women in business. What would be the answer in this case? What is the objective of women? Sorry, the wing there. See, the point is the number of women entrepreneurs is very less. Their way of working is very, very limited as well. So, in this case, the correct answer would be C, to provide training and support for women led businesses. Okay? So, in this case, the correct answer will come out to be the businesses which are led by women. How many capacity development workshops had been carried out in different states as of May 2021 under the WING program? 5 workshops, 9 workshops, 15 or 21. These are somehow data-based questions as well. So what they can do is they can actually give a specific case study on WING, which is incomplete. And then they can ask you the further questions of this. Okay? So such questions can definitely be asked in the examination, but based upon case studies, not exactly, because I believe going typically database would be difficult for them. But yes, they can give you 1 or 2 questions data-based for sure. So we cannot say that array there won't be any question on data. Yes, if they want to increase the level of the question, then they will put 1 or the 2 questions out of the entire examination point of view. They will put questions on this. So it's better that we prepare ourselves for every kind of question rather than just being totally clueless about it. Right? Okay. Here comes the next question. What is the purpose of GEM startup runway, specifically Swayat? Swayat is what exactly? What is the purpose of GEM startup? To restrict the sale of startup products. Such a one thing is for sure. Any of these things is never going to restrict the startups. All these things came up because we wanted to have a better view of all these areas. Then to introduce more startups to the government e-marketplace, to promote entrepreneurships among the elderly, and to limit the interaction of startups with the government purchasers. What would be the answer? Now, when we talk about what is the purpose of GEM, GEM is basically to restrict the sale. No, this is not the point. Second is to introduce more startups towards the area of the government e-marketplace, to promote the area of entrepreneurship among the elderly. See, entrepreneurship among the elderly is something that we can look forward to, because but most of the schemes that we have seen now, the schemes were mostly towards the area of the schemes which are given in the Macmillan book. They're either towards the area of basic working or towards the higher level working. Matlab, towards the basic working of normal persons, or I would say male people or females, or even they have specific plans for children as well. But there wasn't any specific plan which was related to the area of elderly people. So that is one particular thing. So that means C is also not there. One thing sorted, to limit the interaction of startups with the government purchases. No. Basically, having more interaction with the government purchases is good for these organizations. So the answer is 2, introduced more startups to the government e-marketplace. Okay? To introduce more startups to the government e-marketplace. Right? Next question. What is the goal of WING, everyone? Why is WING developed? To promote awareness among the women-led business, to provide free financial support to the female entrepreneurs, to establish a virtual incubation program. Incubation is one particular, incubation is what? to keep the baby safe, they keep it in the incubator. The babies which are premature or have complications, right? So they keep it in that particular machine called incubator. And in the same case, when we talk about businesses which are startups, they know nothing about the world. So they are also kept under incubators, which help them to grow further. To organize workshops for male businesses. Acha, when we talk about women capacity development program, that means one thing is for sure, there is nothing related to males there. है ना? Then comes the era of providing free financial support to female. They don't provide free financial support. None of these plans that you will find, they do not provide free financial support to the people. It basically promotes the awareness of women-led business. This can be there, and even incubation to an extent can be there. But if I talk about the main goal, it is to promote the awareness. How are female entrepreneurs connected with communication, lending, and venture funding opportunities? Through direct grants from the government, by submitting applications to SIDBI institutions through an online training program, or by participating in startup incubators. What would be the answer in this case? How are female entrepreneurs connected with the area of communication? See, the point is, when we talk about this area, communication, lending, venture capital, basically now females also require money for their businesses. There are certain businesses which are totally led by females. So how are they coping up with it? On these entrepreneurs are basically connected with the entire working by submitting their applications to SIDBI institutions. SIDBI has been an organization which is supporting them a lot, right? Because the government cannot provide any of the female based entrepreneurship direct grants. Government has to know about the organization. Government needs the details. So this is wrong. Then through an online training program. So no, you cannot really connect them that way. By participating startup incubators, yeah, that's one of the things that happens. But in this case, the correct answer is B. By submitting applications to SIDBI institutions. One thing about this particular chapter would be it is something that you have to go through the points. Matlab, whatever schemes they are talking about, know the core of those schemes. ठीक है? It is required that we know the core of these schemes. Which organization partnered to provide unpaid acceleration support to women-led technology startups? Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Zone Firms, Startup India Hub, or SIDBI institutions? Which organization has partnered to provide unpaid acceleration support to women-led startups? We've just talked about it. We were talking about the women area, na? So now when we talk about the women-led technology startups, the this organization has partnered. Matlab, this is not directly taking up the particular area, but they are trying to help. SIDBI is directly connected with them because that's how they are able to know which women entrepreneurships are going on, right? So Ministry of Commerce and Industry, it's a higher level there. Startup India Hub is basically a scheme again. So I'll go for zone firms. They are the ones which had been partnered. Matlab, they are not working alone, but they are working with support with others. What is the name of the startup runway introduced by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry? Swayat, Gem Runway, Women Entrepreneurship, and D is Startup India Hub. Okay. What is the name of the startup runway introduced by Ministry of Commerce and Industry? Such questions can be asked. Why? Because now when we talk about these kind of questions now, they're very much something which can be created in one marker question. These kind of questions cannot be covered in a case study format. Okay. So what will happen is these kind of questions are in volume, not by the number. I would say half mark, one marker question. These can be based upon this only, but they won't be a two marker question. These questions are something where you can make your marks, or you can fetch more marks by just going through the concepts properly. So this is, I would say, a little scoring for all those people who are more into theory. So in this case, the correct answer is actually Swayat. It's actually Swayat. What is the purpose of starting Runway Corner in the program? We have talked about the various programs, so let's talk about the Runway program, Runway Corner. To provide runway fashion shows, to connect startups with government purchases, to offer free office space to startups, or to host virtual incubation programs. Technically, if I tell you, all these things are actually happening, but what is it related to? The runway. Vesina, if I talk about the broader concept, what is happening these days is the organizations are trying to connect themselves with the different nook and corner of the world and talking about all these things so that they can actually grow further. What is exactly happening is when you want to grow, you have to socialize. You need some way through which you can specify things. Hai na? So basically, the starting runway corner in the program is to provide a runway fashion shows. That's not the point. This is just limiting it a lot. Hai na? To connect startups with government purchases can be the point. To offer free office spaces to the startups, this happens. They had been working this way, but there are very limited ones which are given by the government to provide free office spaces. They don't provide free office spaces right now. What they have is co-working spaces, that two or more entrepreneurs sitting in one particular area and working together. That is something which is there. To host the virtual incubation. Virtual incubation is basically you are being the incubator, but in the area of limited stuff. Matlab, you are giving an incubation, you are giving support, you are giving assistance, but towards the area of this working only. And so in this case, the correct answer is to connect the startups with the government purchases. See, if you have government purchases with you, the support for these organizations is increasing because government organizations normally don't make a default in the payments. So basically, that particular organization can take tenders, they can make an opportunity for themselves to earn money, right? This is something that they can have in this scenario. Now comes the next point. What is the primary goal in terms of establishing innovation zones at the level of urban local bodies? Establishing innovation zones. Basically, now, pata hai, in our country there are many entrepreneurs, but the problem is if I have an idea, I don't have the money. That idea is still an idea. There's no employment generation, not only for me, but not for anybody else as well. If we have these startups in our country, our national income will be booming. You know. Then this is to reduce traffic congestion in cities, to enhance public service delivery and governance, to promote local culture events, or to increase taxes on citizens. What would be the answer? These innovation zones had been created so that now to reduce the traffic congestion, that is wrong. When we talk about to promote local cultures is again wrong. To increase the cities, increase taxes and the citizens, that is again wrong. It is done to enhance the public delivery service and governance. That is correct. In terms of urban local bodies, they had been looking forward to having a better public service delivery as well as a better governance. The innovation zones had been created for this particular purpose only. Okay? Whenever you feel regarding when you feel in a question ki it talks about innovation, it talks about humans, it talks about um, starting up with a new idea. Those kind of questions would be having a little more nearer proximity to the main answer. I won't say the exact answer would be related to that because sometimes it's totally led towards women. It is totally led towards the finance-driven area. It is I think Abhito just has started. These are only a few schemes that I'm discussing right now. If I talk about going further in this era, you'll learn about angel investors and venture capitalists, and then we will also see about private equity. We will also study about PIPE, pipe, and so there are so many different sources of finances for all these businesses. But the point is, with everything that you are getting, there's a cost to it as well. When we talk about venture capitalists, since I've started talking about it, so let me give you a brief of two things: venture and angel. If you have seen Shark Tank, in that particular area, what happens is you put up an idea that my business is going on. In this business, this is what I've made, this is my current turnover, this is what I've started. But the seed financing is done. But the seed base is working done. You have made the business, you have built it up, and now you're thinking about growing it. They will come up and say, I need 5% equity, 10% equity, 15% equity. And then they decide we will be providing guidance to you, we will be giving loan to you, and as well as whatever technology you're looking forward to, will provide all those things. Now, second is also similar. Angel investors, they also do the same work. And normally they are also in the initial stages as well. They don't really, you won't find angel investors in the advanced stages first, but you'll always find them in the initial stages. Venture capitalists can also try to enter into your organization further and further. But both are guiding spirits. They guide the organization to continue further. But when we talk about angel investors now, once a company has grown enough, within 3 to 5 years, they'll wind up ki the company is now working on its own. It's time to leave. Let's sell off the investment and move on. So they do the same thing for some other organization. While venture capitalist is the one that says that if the organization is getting successful, it will start occupying more and more shares in the company. Now it will try to take over the company. That's the major difference between venture capital and angel investors. Angel investors are basically the ones which are just helping you and leaving. Venture capitalist says that everything has a cost. You want my help? I will. But if you grow further, I will not let you go. Then comes what functions are assigned to innovation zones: hosting fashion shows and culture events, then researching and improving citizen services, promoting local businesses, or conducting sports tournaments. When we talk about the functions that are assigned to innovation zones, in terms of innovation zones, it would be researching and improving citizen services. We're looking forward to the research and the innovation services, right? Done, everyone? And how are the challenges related to the citizen services addressed in innovation zones? Through traditional problem solving methods, by organizing grand challenges and hackathons, and C, by increasing taxation or by ignoring the challenges. How are the challenges related to citizen services addressed in innovation zones? In innovation zones, they work at an entirely different level. They normally conduct hackathons. They have grand challenges. They organize it. They provide you finances through this. They give you a competition through this. They provide you another level of expertise through this. What do you mean by the term startup finance? We have talked about the startup finance in the last class first. So when we talk about the startup finance, this was actually when you start up a company, you have a seed, you have an idea in your mind. And through that idea, you work towards the next area. That is, once you have made an idea, you are up for it. Okay, this is the idea, this is what I want to do. Then you look forward towards the next area. That is, to arrange the finances for the same. When you're trying to arrange the finances, it's definitely not easy. When you're trying to have the finance, it is not easy because the finance is required when you start up a company, and at that point of time you have to first prove yourself. But how will someone give you money while you are just introducing yourself? What is the reason? What's the strong thing that the person will provide you the money? In terms of providing the money, government started many initiatives and they said that since you are a startup, you need money. If you have an idea, prove it to us, let us know, and then we'll provide you assistance. Bank loans started coming up. Various organizations started coming up and said that if you have an idea, you will get the finances, we will help, and you can develop your own business. That's how the entire startup financing came up. So, with this particular concept, the first question comes as this. First question says, what is the primary purpose of state startup policy? Obviously, I said this is not only the private organizations which are now helping the other organizations, it is the government organizations as well which are working towards this area. So, according to you, what would be the answer? What would be the answer? Encouraging the fierce competition among the startups, providing crucial funding and support to them, or regulating the operations of startups or taxing startups. See, they don't want to tax. Not right now. Till the time we don't have money, how can they tax? And GST has this habit of asking everybody to pay, despite whether you have the money or not. But income tax never trusts on these things. It's like, okay, it's absolutely fine, whatever you want to do. So, and that's the particular plus point of taxation there. In terms of state startup policies, they are like, we are looking forward towards encouraging fierce competition. No, we're not looking forward towards encouraging fierce competition. We are trying to help them to work in a proper way. So basically, the point would be B, that is providing crucial funding and support to the startups. We are providing them funds so that they can have a better startup. States are also helping these organizations because it's not easy for these organizations to arrange funds from the banks or any other organization because sometimes they do not even possess any kind of security. So when you don't even have a security, it becomes such a problematic scenario that how will you raise the funds? You have a particular business, but that business requires hard work to develop funds. So here comes the next question. The question says, which one of the following is not one of the challenges faced by startups as mentioned in the text? Lack of leadership, cybersecurity, access to venture capital, or unrealistic expectations, which is not one of the challenges which are faced by them. They face a lot of challenges. So, among them, what is that specific challenge that is basically faced by them? Achha, I didn't add the context there, but so just removing this part. Okay. When we talk about the challenges faced by the startups there, they face problems with lack of leadership because the person is absolutely new. They face problems with cyber security because again they do not have money to have a strong security system as well. Unrealistic expectations comes up because you don't know the market. But access to venture capital is not something that I would say they face that much as per the Macmillan book, because we follow the Macmillan book ultimately. Na? In that particular area, they talk about the scenario that now they have a lot of access to the venture capital. When you are not able to develop on your own, you go to the Shark Tank, you go to, you've seen the particular show Shark Tank. What do? You have started your own business. You just have to go and prove that this is my business. That's the potential of my business. Give me money, I'll grow it up. That is why we'll say this is not a challenge anymore. Rest everything is. And basically you go to the venture capitalists for these things only. The venture capital will have a good leadership because they have already grown up a few businesses. They have got the couple of few businesses, so they will help you and they will guide you how to work. In terms of cyber security, they can help you out. In terms of unrealistic expectations, they will break it up and give you the reality. That would be access to venture capital. Okay. Now comes, there were many initiatives which were started in our country. How many states in India had their own startup policies as of the introduction of Startup India initiative as in 2016? This was again something that is taken from the book itself. In the book, they have stated among all the particular states which have already have their own state startup policies. So which one is it? What's the number? The number is 31. Okay? There are overall 31 states. That sounds better. It is 23. Okay? Till now, 31 states have already accepted it. But remaining hasn't. It will take time. So, but they have been looking forward to it. 31 of these have been there. Okay. I think this question requires some correction as well. So I'll look forward to this question. As per the Macmillan book, they've said it, but I think it's very rare they would go in terms of numbers, because in the ABFM book, in the module D, they have given a lot of information regarding this, na, ki what is the particular startup policies, how do they work, and even they have given the data regarding which has already fought for this or which particular state hasn't developed these things. So I believe going into that depth will be definitely difficult, isn't it? You cannot learn the capitals in the particular states which have given that much amount of capital age and all. That particular thing is definitely, I would say, it is difficult, because learning these things is difficult. You can learn the concept, but this part requires a little more effort. Now comes as something called pitch presentation. Acha, everyone, when I develop something, I am looking forward to it. So in this case, uh, you asked me that, ma'am, what's your particular agenda? What's your business there? I said, I know my business. You said, I would like to invest in your business, but you have to explain what is your business. I said, fine, I'll explain your business to you. So if I'm explaining my business to you, how will I do that? I can do that only if I have a proper presentation mode of the business there. That means, why don't I develop a particular PPT or something in terms of the visual presentation that I give you an idea. Ki, acha, this is my business, and this is what I've been looking forward towards its growth. Hai na? So when I'm looking forward to it, what would it be? What is the primary component of the pitch presentations? There is market research and competition analysis, executive summary and call for action. Then C is detailed financial statements or personal anecdotes of the entrepreneurs. So I would say, when we talk about the pitch presentation, this is basically executive summary of everything that we are doing. This executive summary will really help you to look further what is happening in the business, how do we work upon it. Taken up. Then comes the next point. Which platform offered by Startup India helps the users create pitch presentations with minimal design effort? Pitch Deck, Venture Builder, Idea Pitcher, or InvestMe? Which platform of Startup India helps to have the minimal design effort, because but you need time and everything else to build. First of all, you need time for your own startup. Once you're done with your own startup thing, you have to take out time so that you can actually explain this part to the other person as well. But for that, you need to develop something really strong and come up with them. This is my idea. How do you portray that idea? It is through the pitch deck, venture builder, idea pitcher, or invest me. That would be through pitch deck. Pitch presentations are really helpful. See, if I ask you the questions and there is no screen, what will happen? You'll be like, what is the question? Ma'am, can you please repeat the A part, B part? Right? This visual representation is a stronger part where you and I can connect and we can have a word. This is what I want. This is what I'm telling you. Right? So that's another point that has to be taken care of. That is, when you're having a business, visual representation of anything will be really helpful to let people know what exactly your business does. Right? Okay, so here comes the next question, everyone. The question states that what is the primary objective of Startup India Yatra program? But first of all, it's good that you reach that people are coming to you directly, but sometimes I would say there are certain rural areas where people cannot reach you directly. This happens now. They want to reach out to you, but they cannot. So what will you do? How will you have a word with them? What is that particular thing that you will do in order to have a proper word with them? Simple. If they cannot reach out to you, let's have a particular startup yatra program. Yatra means voyage, or I would say in this case it's journey. Not the voyage. Voyage can be related with only the sea areas. So now I can say that in these areas, what are they talking about? Yatra is basically a journey that they have started. Now they are moving from one place to another and letting people know that with their idea that what are they up to and how can they be helpful for all these startups. So that's the particular idea of bringing it up. Right? So when we are talking about these, how do we look forward towards the Startup India? Okay, the Startup Yatra has been a particular yatra which has taken place in many states already. So it has basically something related to the yatra or the journey in which you're going to let people know how can you be helpful to them. Supporting well-established startups in metropolitan cities, identifying and assisting potential entrepreneurs in non-metropolitan area, offering venture capital to startups in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, promoting international collaborations for startups. Which one would be the answer? See, international collaborations are out of the window. In this case, what they're exactly doing is they're basically identifying and assisting potential entrepreneurs, not in the metropolitan cities, not in the tier 2, tier 3. They're looking forward to people who are in the non metropolitan cities having an extraordinary idea, but zero finance and zero ways to explain to people what they're looking forward to. So Startup India Yatra helped all those minute or minor businesses which have a strong potential but haven't grown up because nobody knows about it yet. What is the purpose of Incubator Grand Challenge introduced by Atal Innovation Mission? To find startups with innovative ideas and then to recognize and support incubators in the country, to provide business mentorships to young entrepreneurs, or to promote research and development in established industries. What would be the answer in this case, everyone? What is the purpose of incubator grand challenge? This is incubators are basically now those. Acha, what is incubator? The incubators are the places where you place young kids. You know, the babies or infants are kept in it as soon as they're out of the womb. They need a place which has a similar warmth, which is basically something which is very similar to their the comfort that the baby has in the womb because they are growing. So business is similar to that. A startup campaign will be having a similar scenario. They want to grow further. They want to look forward towards the growth. Now, in this case, what are they doing? In this case, they're looking forward towards the growth, but they need facilities like banking, for advertising, for logistics, supply chain. They're looking forward to all those areas. So, incubator gives them a particular shelter to all those startups. So, Incubati is the particular organization there that you're talking about. Incubator and Incubati. to fund startups with innovative ideas, to recognize and support incubators, to provide business mentorships, or to promote research and development. We're looking forward to the incubator area. They're basically to help the incubatees, to recognize and support incubators in the country. In our country, a lot of incubators have been set up. And pata hai, when we talk about incubators and incubatees, even they have given reliefs in terms of GST as well. So basically, it is required because these startups are blooming. When the organizations are blooming, we need to help them in one or the other way, don't we? Okay. Now comes the next question. What is the purpose of Startup India Yatra? Why did this particular yatra even started? Startup India means it is itself stating that they are looking forward towards the unique businesses and how these unique businesses can grow. This is the particular area of Startup India. Right? So, to provide funding to the startups, to promote entrepreneurship, to conduct research, or to regulate startup activities. So, they're looking forward towards to promote entrepreneurship and record the startup ideas. All these startup ideas are not only recorded, but these are specific startups which have the potential to grow further. They were also given opportunities to look further, right? So basically, it is required even if a particular organization has got potential, if we guide them properly, that organization can grow further. Now, what would be the answer in this case? How many states and districts has the Startup Yatra been carried out in? 10 states and 100 districts, 23 states and 220 districts, then 30 states and 300 districts, 15 states and 150 districts. How many states and districts has the Startup Yatra been carried out in? It has been carried out in 23 states and 220 districts. How many opportunities for entrepreneurs to participate in the incubator program have been made available through Startup India Yatra? 100 opportunities, 1000, 1450, or 2000? How many opportunities for entrepreneurs? They have already generated 1450 opportunities till now. Roughly 1450 opportunities has been already created. Now, what does the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016 provided for startups with simple debt structure? 90 days, 180, 365, or 60 days. Normally, na insolvency was very different because earlier na, the startups used to face a lot of problems because when you start up a company and then you're not able to develop yourselves in terms of working, how do we work towards it? The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016 was really a boon to the companies which could not really solve their problems, and they were not even to close themselves because bankruptcy, after bankruptcy, it becomes very difficult to close the company and start with something new. So in this case, 90 days of resolve to resolve insolvency, then require 180 days to resolve it, 365 days to resolve insolvency. Insolvency is what? Insolvency is a situation where the assets of the companies, are falling short in terms of the liabilities. The company says we do not have money to pay the debts, so we are really sorry about it. So that's where they look forward to it as a complete closure. So when they look forward to it, the answer would be they would require 90 days to resolve insolvency. At this point of time, they have reduced it to 90 days. Normally, it used to take years at one point of time. Then they slowly and steadily look forward towards reducing this particular time. And right now, it takes around 90 days. Okay. Now, this is another, there are certain awards they have developed. What is the objective of Inspire Awards? Manak program to support the startups, to encourage and inspire young students in the field of science and innovation, to provide financial grants to the researchers or to promote traditional research methods. There has been a good number of awards that they've developed. One of them is Inspire. When we talk about Inspire, it is to inspire the young students in the field of science and innovation. There have been, I think I would say there are so many awards and everything else has been developed. In this particular chapter, you will find a lot of schemes. So one point is clear. There are a lot of schemes and a lot of things that you might have to learn because this particular chapter has got a lot of data regarding the schemes and their timings and their particular context. So you have to sit down and see how many types of schemes are there, and at the same time with every scheme the minute details of the schemes have to be learned as well again, because there are a lot of schemes there, right? So not only Inspire is there, there are a lot of this. Then we have startups with relating to the era of Shanghai Corporation Organization. International awards have been there. National level state policies had been there because startups had gained a lot of importance, especially I would say during the reign of BJP. That they have introduced a lot of these startups, right? Currently, I think innovation has been one of the basic things, even in the Startup India campaign, as you would have seen. So when we talk about the startup campaign, their working has been like that only, right? So I think let's discuss one more question and then we'll be putting an end to the class. Okay. The next question says, what is the purpose of SEO Startup Forum within the Shanghai Corporation Organization? I was talking about SEO only. So under this organization, what are they working? To restrict entrepreneurs with SEO member states, to promote entrepreneurship and innovation, and then to limit knowledge sharing among the startups and to reduce scaling prospects for the startups. What is the purpose of SEO Startup Forum within the Shanghai Corporation? In terms of SEO Startup Forum, it is going to be both the sorry, the answer isn't given there. When we talk about the answer there now, it is to basically now again when we talk about SEO, SEO even now, it talks about to restrict the. It is not about restricting the state to SEO member only. It is basically again all of these have been coming up with all the workings so that they can actually support the startups. There was nothing else. So I would say that this is all the points here. Restrict the forum, this is wrong. To reduce scaling prospects, again, wrong. Why would a particular startup organization, a startup innovation based organization would limit people? Ki, nahi, nahi, this is your level. To limit the knowledge sharing among the startups? No. It is basically to promote this area. I think I just changed the answer there. The answer is B, not anything else. In terms of startup finance, when we talk about now, startup finances are those organizations which have been built up for the purpose of working in a manner which is stronger for the business altogether. So when we talk about startups, how do we define startups? In terms of startups, these are small organizations where the finances are defined in such a way that the organizations are working towards the area of growth. You start up with the small organizations and you're working for the growth of it. When you're trying to grow a particular organization, you will be looking forward towards the finances that you need, the resources that need to be built up, technologies that are required. All those things would be taken up now. So, what is one of the benefits that startups can receive under the startup plan? Tax incentive, educational grants, agriculture subsidies, or housing assistance. What's the answer? When we talk about startup finances receiving money, they receive money in what sense? when you start up your own business, you are generating employment for the for the country there. You are developing national income there. You're generating all these things. Huh? So in this case, when you're generating all these things, these are covered under the area of tax incentive. So when we start up a business, na, those organizations gets tax incentives which are also called tax holidays. Matlab, if you open your business in a certain area, na, then in that specific area, they can say that for a certain period of time, there will not be any taxation. For example, when we talk about it, in the northern India, in Himachal Pradesh, uh, government wanted the area to be developed. That is, in the area of Baddi, they opened up a specific industrial area, and in that specific industrial area, they have opened up the industrial area in such a way that there was a tax holiday for a period of around 10 years. 5 years, it was roughly no taxation on the profit at all. Think about the prosperity of that organizations which can open up their businesses there without any pressure ki acha we have to pay tax or not. So basically they really worked well over this area, right? So when we talk about this scenario that has happened, they talk about this in such a way that the tax incentives can be the one which is basically helpful for the organization in terms of paying no tax for a particular period of time, and then it says you'll be paying 50% tax for the next period. Okay? So this is how we define the particular area there. Chaliye. Then let's move on and talk about the next question. Next question is, oh, I'm sorry. Let's just. I hope it would be in a better position. How long is the exclusion period from the business inspection for startups under the startup plan? 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, or 10. When we talk about the exclusion period from business inspections for startup plans under startup plan, how long will it take? The period which is not included in the area of startups now. When you start up now, normally the organizations takes roughly 3 to 5 years to build up a particular idea, to develop the particular things, thinking about the commercialization, making a particular market for it. All these things takes time. No? So this is the points. Acha, next point is startups can receive 80% fee discount. Which type of registration under the startup plan? Copyright registration, patent, trademark, or business license. Startups can receive up to 80% fee discount, which is a major fee discount. Why is it given, everyone? Audible clearly now? Which is a major fee discount. Why is it given, everyone? Okay. Very audible? The reason behind giving this kind of fee discounts is basically patent registration. When you develop a really new product, which is very a good one, so ultimately you will need a particular point. Now, for example, let me give an example there. There was regarding fidget spinner. Heard about this a few years back, maybe 3 to 5 years back. Kids start playing with a particular thing which used to spin in your hand. So for all those people who were having OCDs or who were having anxiety problems, for them it turned out to be really a good thing that you just hold it and just keep on spinning it. Now the point is the person who developed fidget spinner failed to get a patent there. If she would have got a patent, then every single organization which would have developed the prototype of the fidget spinner further and selling it in the commercial basis, they would have to pay her before making a fidget spinner, right? Another example is the one who created the three-pointer. I think Ferrari made it. They had a particular three-point. The specific seatbelt that we're using is three-pointer. 1, 2, and 3. We have 3 points there. Earlier it was just introduced for 2, which was not really safe. So when this three-pointer was introduced, the person who introduced it purposely said that I do not want to patent the seat belts, because if I get it the patented, then this would become a problem. And while this is required for the safety measures, so when it is required for the safety measures, then they didn't ask for that. But otherwise, if you are developing a very unique product and you can encash it in the market, why not getting it patented? So this is why they call it patent registration there. Patent registration means nobody else can use the formula. For example, Coke formula cannot be used by anybody else. Pepsi's formula cannot be used by anybody else. And even these formulas are secret. At the same time, the same formulas, even if you found out, you cannot use the same formula, right? So in this case, what would be the next point? What is the primary purpose of Atal Innovation Mission with self-employment and talent utilization program? Promoting tourism, then is supporting agriculture, encouraging innovation in startups, or enhancing public transportation. We're talking about Atal Innovation Mission with self-employment. When you're talking about self-employment, in the name itself, it gets generated. You know? So in this case, what would be the answer? The answer would be encouraging innovation and startups. What would be the next answer? What is the goal of business incubators in context with startup support? What is the specific goal, everyone? Okay. So in this case, it is for. Acha, what do you mean by incubators? Incubators are the places where we keep the kids, right? When we talk about pediatrics area, na, you'll find that newborn babies are kept in a specific area which has a warmth equal to the area of warmth of a mother. So basically, they are giving an artificial comfort to the kid to grow. So in this case, they are providing low cost housing, accelerating the development of early stage business, offering legal services, or promoting traditional industries. Now think about the newborn babies who are trying to develop. Obviously, they in the womb they don't have a problem regarding breathing, eating, and all. Once you come out of the womb, then you need all these things, isn't it? Now, in the same case, when you have a startup, you have no prior experience of how the business works. What are the things that we need to take care of? So those startups really need to work well. They need support, they need services, they need financial services, advertising services, transportation, logistics, and they need experts, but that too at a lower cost. So that is why business incubators came up. The incubators are the shelter homes for the startups where they can grow, right? So you can say this is basically the orphanage which has been taking care of all the orphans. Now, when we talk about business incubators, incubator are the particular parent who's taking care of that particular startup, and the startup is called incubatee. That means incubatee. Okay, so one is incubator and one is incubatee. So in this case, it's accelerating of the development of early stage businesses. That means when you are developing a business, just like you are having a newborn baby, so that means in this case, in the early stages, it is required. In context of the startup support, what do business incubators typically offer to entrepreneur? Medical insurance, networking opportunities, farming equipment, or retail space. What would be the answer? Go ahead. When we talk about startup support, incubators typically offer what? They will actually provide you with the network opportunities. They will provide you banking facilities. They will provide you the people with whom you can work, logistics, transportations, which the company might be having a problem with in terms of initially trying to get the hold of it. Na? So it's not easy कि आप direct, you start your business and then you can get the particular links and everything right away. So incubators really helps you to get those tie-ups, because those tie-ups are also something you can say they are also a startup there, or they might be connected with this organization from quite a long time. That's why they can give them the experts who can guide them. And in the business, there are in every business you will find two kinds of work. One is core, the other one is non-core. When we talk about core and non-core businesses, it can be stated in such a way that if we talk about the core businesses, that is your own business, that is something that you should not be giving to someone else. But there are certain things which you cannot do on your own because you might not be having expertise in it. So when you are in the incubator, na, you can leave it on the incubator, right? The incubator will help you out, right? So then let's move on. How do startups under the startup plan benefit from Atal Pension Innovation Yojana? So when we talk about Atal Innovation Yojana, how does it help the startups? Access to free advertising, co-working space, government contracts or promotion, and support for their innovative endeavors. What would be the correct answer? Access to the free advertising. Basically, Atal Innovation Yojana totally talks about innovation. So it would be D. It promotes and supports their innovative ideas. Then, according to the initial definition, when does an entity cease to be considered as a startup, everyone? What would be the answer there? After 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or after reaching a turnover of 25 CR? According to this, after around 5 years of registration, after 5 years from the date of incorporation or registration, this particular portion is over. But remember, in terms of income tax, the provision says that for the first 5 years, they have a separate kind of tax incentives, and after that they have separate kind of incentives. I think the tax holiday will also vary from state to state as well. So basically something that in terms of the taxation overall point of view, it varies from organization to organization and slab rate to slab rate, and even person to person. And let's look at the next question. What is the turnover limit for an entity to be considered startup under the initial definition? Under the initial definition, is it 5 CR or 10 CR, 15 or 25? The startups under this can be stated as something which is related to the area of It is 25 CR. Okay? The answer is 25 CR. Actually, now in the definitions, it keeps on changing. So I think as per the latest right now, it is 25 CR. The definitions has been changing every now and then. Even in the turnover, they have given criterias. In the working, they have given criteria. So this will vary over the period of time. Okay, here comes the next question. According to the expanded startup definition, which type of entities can be considered as startups? Private limited company or registered partnerships? Then private limited company and sole proprietorships. Then LLP and trust, or all type of entities regardless of their legal status. See, legal status plays an important role because of only one thing, that if you know the legal status, then the tax holidays would be different for all these organizations. It's never going to be the same. So it varies from organization to organization, and it also varies from time to time, because startup campaigns have been there throughout the entire timing, but it varies. So it can be for a particular period of time, it would be something, and then after that, it would change. Right, for example, in a particular state I talked about, there was a 10-year holiday. In terms of first 5 years, no taxation. When after 5 years, they said that nay, after 5 years it would be 50% of your profit would be taxable. So that's something which the organizations choose, right? So in this case, the answer would be private limited company and registered partnerships only. In this case, it's just these organizations which are talked about in terms of startup definition, and these which are considered as startups. Private limited companies, as well as if you start with a registered partnership. Registered means you're looking forward towards a proper registered one, means which has got a recognition in the eyes of the law. Chaliye. Now let's move on to the next question. How long can an entity remain eligible for recognition as a startup under the expanded definition? First is initial definition and then is expanded one. So what I can do is in the upcoming class, I'll discuss all the definitions as well, so that you can understand what's the difference between initial and the expanded definition. Under 3 years of incorporation, under 5, under 7, or under 10. What would be the answer in this case, everyone? I think today if in case it's possible, then I'll be discussing a few questions on the area of reasoning and assertion part as well. We expect that this time the examination is going to be using all the formats there of MCQs. So every day I'll try to bring at least 1 to 2 questions on reasoning and assertion based, so that if you are new to this area, you won't really feel left out in terms of your practice. Right? Under the expanded definition, it went up to 10 years. That's why they introduced like first no tax holiday. That is, first is no tax, and then we have the area of after no tax, it was 50% of profits. Okay, here comes a question on assertion as well as reasoning. When we talk about reasoning and assertion kind of questions, these are basically all created from the Macmillan book itself. You take a particular statement out there, and those kind of statements have been asked in the examination. So it is really important that you, in your examination, you really understand the within the lines of the book. Not something you are just noting it down from the general point of view, but you need to know the details of it as well, because for these kind of examinations, now they are raising their bar. So what they are doing is they are putting the points from within the lines, so we should be prepared to understand the concept to that extent. Chale. Now, assertion says that an entity formed by splitting up or reconstructing an existing eligible business is eligible to be recognized as startup. The initial definition of startup explicitly includes such entities. Both the assertion and reasoning are true, and the reasoning is correct explanation of the assertion. When you talk about splitting up a particular organization and reconstructing it, changing it altogether, when you talk about startups now, it is considered as a startup. Okay? When you're changing your business, you're trying to grow it further, it would be considered here. Okay? Then comes the next point. To be considered as a startup under the expanded definition, an entity must be registered as a private limited company, a partnership, or a limited liability partnership in India. Because the type of legal registration is a key criterion for expanded definition. The point is, to everyone, how would the government come to know that you exist? They cannot come to know till the time you don't really provide them a proper information that you exist. What are you as a person? Then till that particular period of time, it's just not possible, isn't it? So I would say when it comes to these kind of organizations, one is assertion and one is reasoning. Assertion part says where what is the statement that's specifying. In terms of an organization, if that organization does not exist in the eyes of law, how will they consider it as a startup and will provide any kind of benefits to them? To provide benefits, it is essential on the part of that organization that it exists in the law, right? They should have a PAN number on the basis of which the existence can be proved. So, in this case, first point is definitely correct. And second is the type of legal representation is basically a criterion of expanded definition. It was not specified in the initial one. So, in the expanded one, they did. So, in this case, I can say the answer is both. The assertion and the reasoning are true, and the reasoning is an explanation. The assertion. The first question says is the which one what is the one of the most important functions of management that involves organizing the work of employees, delegating responsibilities, setting objectives, planning tasks, or controlling operations? What is the most important function of management? In terms of management, the most important thing is delegating responsibilities. First of all, you have to look forward towards setting the objectives, but this is done by the top level. And then the management is basically whatever the plan is to stick to the plan, isn't it? Sticking to the plan is ultimately very, very important. So, can we say that what is the most important function? The most important function would be understanding the fact that I cannot do all the work all alone. So, obviously, I need people help. And then, when I need help, then that would be delegating responsibilities. Okay, here comes the question on reasoning and assertion, everyone. Go ahead and try. The organizing process in the management involves determining what tasks must be completed to achieve objectives and creating an organization structure. They're talking about the organizing process where we are trying to find out what are the tasks, how are we going to arrange the resources and everything. And then we have reasoning. An effective organization results from well managed organizing process. What would be the answer in this case? वैसे तो everything starts with planning only. When you have a better plan, then only things work out. If you do not have a proper plan, then things really don't work out well, right? I can say the correct answer would be both are correct, and at the same time, it is the reasoning is correct explanation of the assertion. Now comes what are the two essential components of an effective organization according to next. Delegating tasks and objectives, delegating responsibilities and assigning authority, setting goals and measuring performance, or planning and reviewing plans. When we look at this particular essential component of effective organization, in terms of organization, it is very important to understand that how do we work, what is the particular area that we have to look forward to, right? In terms of the components of the effective organization, according to the text, if we look at the basic things, one of the most important thing is delegating responsibilities and assigning the responsibilities. But the point is, after we are done with this, what next do we work upon? Then what next do we work upon is we delegate the tasks and we have to set up the objectives. We have to give responsibilities to the people. If their responsibility isn't assigned properly, they will not be able to work, isn't it? So one thing is sorted. The first point has to be responsibility setting, but after that, when we have taken up the responsibilities, then we have to split it up as well, because everybody, every officer has a limited time period. They have a limit to work.